o'clock. If you just joined us, that a promised interview with Linda. Good morning, Linda.
Morning.
How are you? How's the Monday morning?
The morning is very well. It's just that it's a little bit colder today, so it's weird to have some cold breeze in September.
That's the thing with the Namibian weather, Nate. It just won't let us be.
You know, everything is just a swing in this year.
All right, this morning we are talking about access to information. Linda, what is access to information, and am I guaranteed access to information because simply I am a Namibian?
Of course you are. Access to information is a fundamental human right which guarantees all citizens to seek and receive it, and also impart information to others. And that is guaranteed by the Article 21 in the Namibian Constitution that speaks about the freedom of speech and expression.
Mm-hmm.
And this also is extended to the media. But of course, if I just look at you and me, freedom of expression talks about the importance that you have the right to think, you have the right to receive information and knowledge, but also the right to share that knowledge by ensuring that you're able to get information that is accurate and informative, and also will be able to get you to make a decision that enhances your future. But also extended to that, it is important to know that from a national basis, which is the Namibian Constitution, there is an extended article that speaks to access to information, and that is Article 19 of the Universal Declaration.
Mm-hmm.
This one speaks about freedom of opinion and expression, and also further, it also is guaranteed under Article 144 of the Constitution, that within the Namibian Constitution, that also enhances the importance that information and access to information is guaranteed, and which means that initially says that the state is accountable to its citizens within anything that is done within the framework and of the Namibian nation. So that initially says that you as a person, you are guaranteed of your rights in terms of freedom of expression and speech, but also that your rights comes with limitations. But that doesn't necessarily mean as a citizen you do not have the right to information, in the sense that if you want to find out about something specifically, you need to be able to access that, and that information needs to be accessible to you. If it's not, then it becomes a problem, and that is why access to information in this country is an important issue to advance, to ensure all citizens are able to make responsible and just decisions for themselves.
All right. We've had many bills not being passed in Parliament because maybe the government is not ready. Like the whistleblowers bill has been said to not be ready because we do not have enough money. Now, tell us about the status of the bill which is in regard to access to information. Where is it? Is this a bill that has been passed? Are we safe to go to a government office and say, listen, I'd like to know about this and this?
As much as there's a guarantee of Article 144 of the Namibian Constitution that actually holds government accountable in terms of automatically making sure that information is available, our access to information bill right now was tabled in the National Assembly this year, but also it got referred back to the Standing Committee of Information and Communication for review, and that initially says that there is going to be public hearings regarding this bill in order for us as citizens to be able to engage the bill. But I think it needs to go beyond the public standing committee engagement with us as citizens. There needs to be discussions like this that we are having now, mm-hmm. that needs to take place for people as citizens to understand why is this bill important before the bill comes through with the standing committee, so that the citizens are able to understand the basic ethos of why access to information is important and how accountability, transparency, and of course good governance aspects are attained. Because it's no help you have the standing committee come to us in our communities, yet we are not well versed with the basics of what access to information is. So for me, it is important for us to be able to continue educating and critically analyze why we need this bill, but also ensure that this bill gets enacted in the country and that it gets passed at parliament level so that we are able to ensure that we have a corrupt-free country and a country that is well-governed in order to amplify the well-being of all Namibian citizens.
All right, there you have it. That is Linda, and she's just here this morning to talk to us about access to information. Linda, I will let you catch your breath with a quick musical break, and we'll be back to talk more about access to information, and we'll be tackling why is access to information important? Why is it important to me to give it to you, and why is it important for you to have it? Do stay locked to Nust FM, because right here, we are reinventing sound.
I like my coffee black, like. Sugar, 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 chocolate, sugar, no milk, sugar, maybe sugar, just chocolate. You make me feel sexy, especially when you're calling me baby. My legs they quiver, cause you're driving me crazy. There's no pressure, cause your loving is easy. My bear you are, that's why I'm calling you Teddy. Daddy's all that I love, boy. Hubby, tate, daddy is all that I love, boy. My soul you are, and I'm feeling dope. My food you are, and I'm very hungry. Chocolate, you're all I want. Chocolate. Just black.
We only have a few minutes left in studio, and I'm still joined by Linda Bauman, and she's talking about access to information. The time is exactly 21 minutes to the hour of 10 o'clock. That means we have 21 minutes left in studio. Linda, let's quickly talk about the importance of access to information.
Access to information for you and me as a citizen is very important because it gets us to make informed decisions about our lives. Mm-hmm. That is why you guys on radio keep reminding us about the news that is updated, what is the latest, so that we're able to know the happenings around it, but also how to integrate that within the real lives of reality that we live in our communities. On top of that, it gives you a voice and an opinion also to be able to say, why is it that us in Katutura don't have water or our electricity is cut between X time and X time, yet the other neighborhoods are not. This weekend we were talking about how in living in the township basically means that your neighbor can play music at any time, even 7 o'clock in the morning. But that won't happen in the city when you are in town, because the police will react very fast. And these are very basic access to information.
People actually, Linda, people in the other parts of town actually get what they call noise licenses. So your neighbor can get a noise license and they can make noise because they have that license. But in where we live, on the other side of town, people just play music.
Exactly. And if people had access to information on how to access that little license for that party that they will be having, they will be able to be responsible citizens to be able to hold the other neighbor accountable. And that is why we talk about access to information, so that people are able to know the restrictions that are in place or the rules and regulations of the state that needs to apply to us as citizens also needs to be applied back to the ones that are supposed to be custodians, and that is the state. Meaning that I need to be able to know how to access this license, but at the same time also how I'm able to retain it in terms of holding the state accountable when I am not given or have access to the service when my neighbors are so noisy. And that is why we're saying it gives us the opportunity to participate in different democratic processes in the country, whether it is elections, whether it is not, like the noise example we just made. It goes beyond that. And I think it sets clear priorities also about what is it that you want. Like you and I, our issue is education, health, what else is important to me? Food, and then I want a job, and then I want to be able to take care of my family. It's just very basic. And if the state is able to make that accessible to everybody, do you think any Namibian would be problematic if they are not able to feed if they're able to feed their family? They won't. What they would now enhance themselves is to acquire more skills and knowledge to better their lives. So access to information is a very important tool to get citizens to be responsive and also to be engaging their voices in different issues that are affecting us in the country.
Definitely. Then the question then arises, I can benefit from it as a member of the public, but how can the government benefit from it? I always say that the reason why the government is always fighting with people about land and the municipality is always breaking away shacks is because they are not communicating. People don't know that this land needs to be serviced before they can live. They see open land and they want to live. So how can the government possibly benefit from access to information?
It is important to remember that access to information for the state is very important, yet the state must also not politicize access to information. Those are two different issues for me. So if we look at the premise of access to information, you're looking at a state that is trying to govern a country openly, transparently, but also accountable to its own citizens because they were placed in there by their citizens, as much as they're affiliated to a political party and as much as the political party has a manifesto. It is important to note that the political party's manifesto leads into a national agenda, which again, that national agenda does not, it is at the end not a political national agenda. All these Harambes and 2030 agendas and all of that, those are not political agendas, those are national agendas. And that is what we are talking about in terms of access to information, that the national agenda needs to have clear systems that allow citizens to understand how the program and servicing has been done. And then also at the same time, what fears this, which means at the end of the day, the state is able to benefit, the citizens are able to reflect on the development, but also give opinions and options about what works for them, and also be able to access their citizens, because this is where citizens are able to hold government accountable and expose any form of maladministration and or any form of corruption. But if it is politicized, you always have a state that is going to be problematic in advancing access to information because they are scared of corruption and maladministration. So at the end of the day, in answering your question, how can the public benefit from ATR and or how the state can benefit? This is clear that the state cannot operate without us citizens, because the service is to come to the citizens. Us as citizens are not able to if we're not able to access the service, we're not able to tell the government whether they're doing the right thing, or we're not accountable because access to information in accessing that service is not attained. So it is important for us to be very clear that access to information is within the benefit of the citizen and the state itself, and at the same time also it will advance our government, our country, and uplift us as the citizens in order for us to build a better generation for our kids.
All right, I have one final question. We as the media, sometimes maybe we are scared. We are entitled to our freedom of speech, but what advice would you give to a media practitioner that would like to go and get information, but is a little bit small scared?
The first level for me, for all of you within the media fraternity, is to go back to basic civic education, in the sense of getting to understand what the basic human rights are that you're talking about. Yes, you're talking about the different issues, but if you're not able to affirm them within the first, second, or third generational rights, it will be difficult for you to affirm why access to information is important. Secondly, I also think it is important for journalists to interrogate why access to information is important and why citizens need to take this serious, because Namibia hasn't had a national dialogue on access to information. And I think this is where you guys play a critical role in ensuring that access to information discussions are taking place, but also citizens are able to ask, look at now. In this country, all of us are now questioning all these corrupt deals. We're questioning all this evil and maladministration that is taking place in the country. Why? Because we've never had access to information. But also on top of that, citizens haven't connected those issues that are of great national interest as the lack of access to information. I think it starts from there, because if people can only get information through you as the media, then it basically means they don't even know that they reserve the right to walk into a place and ask for a set of information and to be able to get it. So it is important that the media plays that role, but also goes to an extent on investigative journalism, for you guys to start going deeper and expose that the fact that we don't have access to information, this is why we can't get the information, because this is why all the evil deeds are done in this country. So you guys are crucial in making our lives easy. You guys are crucial in defining the agenda. You guys are crucial in shaping the narrative in this country. And that is why we can't do without you as citizens. We switch on our radios in the morning. We switch on our TVs to watch news. At the same time, we sit on the streets and have our conversations and we chill together. But yet, you guys are key to shaping the way we look at our futures. Because if we don't get the opinions of what you guys are saying, the government is not going to be held accountable, because you guys are the fourth estate in this country to ensure that access to information is attained, that people are held accountable, that we have good governance and transparency in Namibia.
All right, Linda, I hate to let you go without asking you a human rights question. Am I allowed to?
Yes, please do.
So somebody asked me, apart from marching and making posters and being angry on social media, what can we do? What is that we can do with regard to rape and violence against women and children, now also violence against men?
You see, we need to go back to basics. If I think about 10 years back, we had there has been national consortiums that used to happen where national different organizations with the Ministry of Gender used to come together with civil society, where we're able to shape a narrative. Right now, the gender-based violence movements in this country is scattered. We don't have a collective, cohesive process of organizing that is happening. That is why you'll see we're going back to the norm of we need to march, We need to make a noise on social media. Yes, social media is currently the norm that actually gets us to amplify, but we're not reaching the masses because not everybody does Facebook or any form of social media. I think what we need to do that is crucial for us is to be able to also have an open conversation with the men's movement, because we need to figure out whether it even exists, because in Namibia we don't have a women's movement. We need to acknowledge that. We have elements of the women's movement who are trying to shape and redefine the current narrative. And right now we will be stuck in a situation where the services are the main problem, and I'm talking about the justice service, and I'm talking about the shelter service or the safe home servicing, and I'm talking about the aftermath psychosocial well-being services. I can tell you in the 6 months of this process of the COVID lockdown or emergency, or whatever form we would like to call it, it was a struggle when you take a rape victim to Karatura Hospital. Then you hear the office down there with the Ministry of Gender is closed because the social worker is not there. You sit for 3 hours, and you must remember that you're sitting with a survivor who's traumatized, who just wants to get away from this place. Then you can't even go to a police station because you all you do at the police station is pick up the G88 form. Then you need to come back to the Karatura Hospital, and then you have 3 nurses asking you in public, just there in the emergency room, what happened.
Imagine.
Private space. So that is a very basic system. I can tell you that it is broken. So that is why a lot of the women that I've worked with over the years, all they want is their post-exposure prophylaxis, their morning after pill to avoid being pregnant, and then all they want is the basic counseling processes, and then they say, I don't see the need to make a case because I don't have the patience to wait for it. We need to be able to change and show justice for survivors to see that something is happening in this country. Our perpetrators are working past us every day. How do you expect me as a woman to look
heal.
at my perpetrator and feel that I'm safe? Do you think I will go and make another case if the first one wasn't even held accountable? There's no way. All I need to do is try and get precautions to take care of me. And I think we need to go back and sit down. We also need to be able to engage the new generation, which is the generation between 15 and 30. They haven't been engaged because this is the generation who have just swept through the GBV existence without being properly groomed and understood or informed to be able to know how to protect themselves, but also be cautious in this life. Because if you look at our generation, we had civic education. We had civic education that led us to different forms of human rights violations, so that people are able to know that violations don't just take place physically. Because our parents only believe when something happens to you physically, but they don't believe when something happens to you psychologically, or when somebody is verbally abusing you for a long time, or sexually abusing you, but it's a family member who is harassing you in that form. So that the kids are able to be reactional and reactive in order for this to be curbed, because it starts from those flirts to an extent where you are economically supplemented by this person, and then boom, this person could rape you or can get between your legs.
Linda, I have to let you go.
All right. So that's just the basic end. But at the end of the day, what I can say is that we really need to create safe spaces for women, for all genders.
Definitely.
I have no prescription. That also includes sexual and gender diverse communities, because we are no different from any other person. What is key right now is to make sure that there's the people who, and there's one thing that we need to acknowledge before you say bye to me. Our social workers are burdened with work. They are burdened, and we don't have more than 500 social workers in this country who are working for the state. So that is problematic already for a 2 million population. So that is already a problem, and we need to be able to see how do we go back like we did back in the days, where community councillors also played a critical role in assisting with the mere immediate first aid support of psychosocial support that comes with it.
All right,
so
Linda.
I'm going to keep quiet right there.
Thank you. I will definitely have you back here on Nust FM. Thank you so much for choosing Nust FM. Thank you so much for talking to us, not just about access to information and its importance and what we can do to be able to access this information. Thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you very much for having me.
Have a good day.
All right, then.